Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dr. Doujinshi, and welcome back to another episode of Hentai Reviews, the only series where we are slowly building up our budget. New microphone. And today we are going to be stepping back into a series that I've covered one episode of, so naturally I'm in for the long haul. Today we're going to be reviewing episode 2 of Ishizoku Reviewers, otherwise known as the Interspecies Reviewers. This lovely series that regarded no controversy whatsoever and has neither made progress as to distribute itself among the degenerates of the world, whether that be from the west or the east. It's been about a year, please, for the love of God, do not try me. So, today in episode 2 of Ishizoku Reviewers, it runs at about 23 minutes and about 27 seconds long, give or take 10. So, the entire thing done by Passione, as I've done the first episode already. The second and third and previous and continuous episodes past that are going to be a little bit more sparse on the details. So, beginning off the entire thing, we are opened with the basic rundown of how the entire world works. You know, the whole thing where it's like, there's different races, but they all lead back to some sort of succubus race somewhere down the lines. Because if you didn't know, succubi be horny. Now, it goes along with this, and then it leads into the, once again, banger fucking soundtrack that they call an opening, and I fucking love it. I don't know the words, but I'm humming along. You know the reason why I like it? Because in the title of the whole thing, if you watch it with subtitles, the words "bustin' nut" literally show up. And I don't have any other title for it. It just says "bustin' nut" multiple times in the entire thing, and I have no way of saying it otherwise. The only English words are, "Let's go to paradise." No! You are the Busta Nut song! And you will always be referred to as it because you had the balls to do it, and I appreciate it. So, we're going to be talking about what happens in episode 2. Episode 2 starts off pretty regularly, as you would suspect, you know. The whole kind of group, plus the little halfling fella who has, like, old school Disney eyes, which is weird. They're all sitting at a table, and they kind of make a little bit of a thing where they're eating their food, and they're like, "Man, I love having a big piece of meat with me," and they start arguing about the sizes, and they're like, "Oh yeah? Well, dick size does matter." And they're like, "I was talking about steak, but yeah, let's go with this." So they work their way towards their conversation. They're like, "Alright, we need to go to a place where size actually does matter." So they look across, they're like, "I wonder what we can review." A man after my own heart, reviewing things, and then speaking of it in high praise. Or being jaded little pieces of shit who really just didn't get the good end of the stick. Regardless, they look over and they see a group of fairies on the other side of it. Fairy is not a derogatory slur in this statement. Fairy is referring to the people of which they stare at, who are magical creatures with little wings, otherwise known as pixies. They look over and they see them getting hammered, so they decide, "I think I have an idea." As they're leaving, they're like, "Hey, Krim, want to come with?" Krim being the little angel person who is a little weirded out by some of these sort of exploits, but they go along for the ride anyway because they are a trooper. And damn, I love this fella. So they head out and they're like, "Let's go get fucking laid." And as they walk out, well, there's a little bit of a sprinkled in backstory of of Stunk, the main character, who's main character really, human. And they're like, "So, what was your dad like?" They find out that his dad was in fact a noble, and he was kicked out until he became a famous adventurer, and he also made money on the side doing this whole review business. A man after my own ambitions. Being an adventurer would kick ass, if you wouldn't know. That sounds like an awesome job. So they go over and they start to get some of the best moments in the entire thing. And holy hell, I love this opening part. You see, when they go into the place, they're like, "Okay, first time people, free." 100% understandable. Also, there's going to be 500 gold to get in, which is a little steep. So, they make their way in and they're like, "Alright, to get in, we want to let you know, fairies are very small, very tiny. You could break them if you put it in a little too hard. So we're going to need everybody to get measured. And then, I forgot to mention, the girl doing all the measuring in this, the fairy girl, she's got green hair, tattoos, piercings, huge boobs, and has the bags under the eyes with a really colorful display of her. And I would like to firmly say that she is the hottest girl in the whole damn thing. Don't make me act up. Okay, so they continue forward with their whole measuring thing. Stunk, being on the larger side, gets a little bit of a harder thing to pick between. He gets the big girls to work with, and then they move on to Zell, who's a little bit more open in the fields, and then they go on to the halfling dude who's like, you can work with anybody, and he's like, there's like nobody I'm too big for, and they're like, not a one, and then he has a hurt pride, but probably no blue testicles. And then they go over to Krim, and then they do probably one of my favorite running jokes in the entire series. They essentially just tell him, there's nobody that you can be here with, and everybody looks back at like, Nani? And it's super funny, because now the only thing I can think of every time I see the fella pop onto screen is that dude has an enormous dick. And I'm never going to see anything else. You're cute, you're fun, I love it when you're on screen, and you have a lot of funny reactions. But you be packing that schmeat. Now, they have a very biased set of reviews afterwards, because one guy got stuck with women that he didn't think were attractive, another one had a pretty okay experience, and then another one had a good experience, and then Krim just got straight up scammed for his money because he's not big enough, or he's too big for everything. And they kind of capitalize on that joke later on, and I love it. Now you see, after the review, they have a little bit of a change of pace, because as our Lord and Savior, not Lord and Savior, that one asshole, not Nuxtaku, love you dude, he got it pretty right on this. You see, when sex is a very easily distributable thing in the entirety of the marketplace, there's a bit of a political movement around it where certain people will vote and then keep their ideas specifically centered on that sort of thing. You see, there is a demon girl who's kind of like being portrayed as the demon lord who's scary in all anime things, and then is immediately like lowered back down to like, oh, it's just a really, really big lolly who's wanting to get political power, so she's campaigning like a normal person would do in these sorts of situations. It's very evident. She's trying to talk about how they can bring a magical technology to fruition further on in the world. And making a pretty big point, industrial revolutionizing is a very nice thing to do in a less than developed civilization. Although magic can take the place of these sorts of things, it's very nice. But they start to have a little bit of an argument about how their political system works, where the reason that they're not in charge is because a lot of people really don't like demons, because there's a little bit of a stigma behind them. Kind of racist, but makes a little bit of sense. Demons aren't the most likable things in the world, except if you're playing Dungeons and Dragons, and then everybody wants to bone the tiefling. It doesn't matter who they are. They just want to grab the horns and ride whatever's there. I don't care what's between the legs. You're horny, and so are they. Damn it, they get +2 to charisma. I want that. So, they show off how little they like demons in this entire thing, to such a great extent that they bring out Family Feud just to do it. You have any idea how many times I sat on my grandmother's bench or my grandmother's couch and watched Family Feud? This is just a joke I was made for. I'm the right audience for this shit, and I love it. So, they show it off, and then they say, well, who's currently in charge? The orcs, because the orcs have a very small set of things on their mind. Low tax, agricultural dependency, and cheap services with large budgets sent for the succubus district, aka the brothels, because orcs are good at a lot of things. Farming, fucking, and sleeping. And it is very well represented, and I salute you, my brothers. America would be happy to have you. So, they go on to this whole thing where they're like, hey, maybe we can put in our votes to certain places. And they're like, what if we got more suck you girls in there? No, you goblin. You already have a good thing going. And then a representative of the demon girl runs up to them because they are well-known reviewers and adventurers. People carry weight when they hear what they reviewed. So the guy gives a little bit of a, hey, what if you go ahead and happen to review some demon girls? Maybe we can get a little bit of a boost because people will like us a little bit more because they know we can fuck. And there's probably the single greatest line that I've ever heard after this guy does such a butch job trying to sell demon girls. I'm going to put a screenshot on here because I am not going to repeat this and then fuck it up.
Beauty.
Now, after doing so, they kind of just move forward with like, hey, here's a card, I know the place, you guys are going to like the demon girls there. And they're like, alright, bet, we'll go try. The guy poofs away and then flies off with his demon lady to go campaign in smaller villages on the outskirts of towns. They then wait until the middle of the night. Krim doesn't come with because angels and demons mixing together created DMC Devil May Cry, and we don't want that. And they head off. They're like, hey, that's the demon hole, the place that we were supposed to go. And then they see some girls walk by with minotaur horns, cow bikinis, and just some big old booba. Big bahangala, absolutely massive gahangala, all the big mommy milkies. And then they scroll by. And being men and women and gender fluid people, as my audience probably is, I don't know the statistics, hopefully all of you are having a nice time. All of us are inclined to follow the law of gravity. Small things don't create gravity. Big things create a lot of gravity. So they are attracted to the gravity. And they wander their way into the school. Not school. They go their way into the brothel, and then they spend some time getting some milkshakes. After the reviews, they go into this little bit that also has another one of the greatest lines ever. Cue the line.
Appreciates the art of boob.
And after so, it's pretty good reviews across the board because who doesn't like ice cream and who doesn't like some milkshakes? And milkshake brings all the boat to the yacht. Enough. They get back, they forgot to review the demon girls, and then they slowly start to head their way into the bar to be like, that was pretty fun. And Krim's like, you guys didn't go to the demons, and you also didn't invite me, you dicks. So they're like, yeah, that's cool. And it wouldn't be an ending to this series. It wouldn't be an ending to an episode if Matori didn't almost get hit on and then fucking hits back. Sends the guy into the ground, because gravity works two ways. Towards boobs, and if you touch boobs, you fall to the ground real fast. And then, the entire episode ends with another banging outro. I still love this thing. Oh my god, I like it. So nice. So, that was episode 2 of Interspecies Reviewers, a series in my own heart, in my own YouTube channel, and in my own profession. What did I think of it? I think it's at least on par, if not a slight step up from the first episode, and I cannot say anything bad about it. There's really something here that just builds up on the world that saying sex sells, but sex sells so well that it increases economic stability based on who they're picking in their political climate, such as the orcs, who are straight up saying, we value sex and agriculture more than we value industrialization to such a degree that they've ran and won so many times that they hold a majority of the holdings in the political system. Also, hot goth fairy girl.
Oh, I'm about to act up.
So, what are my ratings for this? Animation, great. In the certain areas that I did. Oh my fuck, I forgot one part. You see, there is a scene. Not a very big scene, but I count it anyway, because I'm a man. The scene itself starts at 6 minutes and 45 seconds, and then goes to 7 minutes and 5 seconds. In which case, there's a little bit of a problem, because the hot fairy girl is trying to say, hey, we still have to measure you, so you're going to have to get it up at full length so we can measure properly to figure out which girls you need. And he's like, I can't. So she takes off her shirt, flies up, lands on his junk, and then just starts grinding it. And it lasts 20 seconds. But I'm counting it! Because episode 3 is going to be the thing that spoils you guys. Not on plot, but just spoils you. You're going to get something you do not deserve, because this shit is good. I'm still counting it. First and only scene so far, and I enjoy that. So, that's it. So what do I get into? Animation? Really well done. 8 out of 10. Solid. Characters and story? Funny as fuck, likable, well-built world. Cannot stress this enough how much I love this. 10 out of 10. And now, plot? What we're all really here for doesn't pop in until episode 3, but that little 20-second part, it may be short,
but so is she, and I'm into it.
So, where do we land at that? 10 out of 10. I'm not doing the math on this one. 10 out of 10. I'm the one with the channel. If you want to review it yourself, leave your own reviews in the comments. And if you have anything to say, also leave it in the comments. Or if you want to have a chat, leave it in the comments. And if you're a bot, stop getting in the comments. I have to delete them all the time. And every time I delete a comment, it makes me feel bad. Because I'm tired of these stupid bots trying to do stuff. But we're going to go ahead and call it there. So, in the meantime, I'd like to say thank you to everybody who sticks around with this really wide-spanning schedule. I got a new job recently. I'm getting another new job after that because it pays better and it's easier to get to. And, yeah. Thanks for everybody for sticking with me. My life is going really weirdly right now, and something bad just happened to me that I don't want to talk about because, number 1, sensitive, not a happy time. Number 2, maybe later. But until next time, I have been the Doctor, and remember the 3 things before I leave. Have a nice day, don't be a dick, there's too many of them, and wash your fucking hands. There is still a pandemic going on. I am tired of wearing... No, I'm not tired of wearing masks. My whole job is wearing masks. Don't wash your fucking hands. I like the masks. Because you're going to see this more often. And you think I don't have more masks? I have all the masks!